13 love, 13 knowledge, 13 wisdom, 13 respect. This is your creation, and this is the next level. Today we're going to be talking about the fog, just because it's been such a interesting topic that I've been seeing that people have been talking about, and just looking at the representation in your reality, right? Because every time you wake up, it's a new day. There's things that have changed, things that are different, based upon your interactions from the previous day, but also your mindset and intent that you had before you went to bed. What I always recommend doing is praying or meditating, releasing and letting go of the day, right? Don't take anything personally. Don't go to bed angry or upset. Things of that nature, right? Things happen, but over time, as you learn to mature in life, you don't want to take that stuff with you to bed. So that's very important, and that has a lot to do with what you're going to experience the next day, right? And since I've done this for years, I have a lot of clarity in my life the next day, right? It's hard to say what the day is going to be like, but as long as you've left everything in the past, you can live in the present and continue forward. And that's where it comes into with the fog or the mist. If you do a lot of studying on fog or mist in ancient cultures, it gets to be rather interesting. And it's not really the term fog, but it is a mist. And ancient civilizations, even the natives, indigenous people, will tell you don't go outside when it's foggy or misty out there, because that's where you're going to see spirits, and you're going to see the shift happen. There's a shift happening in reality, right? And we're not always supposed to see that shift, but sometimes we do. And when you see the mist, the fog, it is crossing the borderlines between the physical reality and the spiritual reality. So you're able to see spirits. Spirits can manifest. Spirits can become dominant within the mist. And it's also a judgment call as well, because it's scanning you. This mist is scanning you to see where you're at. So as reality is transforming itself, because the fog is really interesting. When you cannot see past here, there's a big shift happening in your reality or in the realities. So with that being said, you really want to have a pure heart, and you don't want to take anything that is negative or just emotionally imbalanced or chaotic during that time. That's why the ancient cultures always said stay inside, because you don't know what's going to come out of the mist, right? And I don't think a lot of people talk about that because they don't research things like that. And the Bible, even the Bible itself, talks about the mist, right? The breath, the mist, the power of it, and the influence behind the mist. And it's very interesting, these little things that people don't pay attention to, especially when it's happening in their reality, right? And that's the traditional ways of what the mist is. Be cautious, be aware. You'll see things in the mist. You really will. And you got to be careful and cautious with it. So whether you decide to go to work or not, it's up to you. But I've went to work in the mist, and it judges your heart. So if you have a good heart, you're good. And you want to set your intent out when you're experiencing the mist, so it knows, because it's judging your heart. So what intent are you bringing out there? Be like, hey man, I want a good timeline to be on, right? Because the world is a multiverse. There's so many there's so many different ways life can go. It's all happening at the same time. So every thought, every pattern, any idea happens, and it goes on those timelines. So when you're in that mist, what timeline do you want to be on, right? It really gets interesting, and makes you really become aware that this is a matrix structure, and this is a reality based on will, intent, and just how advanced or aware you want to be. So with that being said, there's also talks of a different kind of mist. And this is the mist you need to be cautious with. And that's the mist that has particles in it. So particles in a mist or a fog is more than likely some kind of chemical thing that is being sprayed out around us. So it's identifying what the mist and real fog is, right? Real fog, real mist is, and then identifying spraying and the particles that you see. If you're seeing little, I mean, you can tell plain as day if it's chemical based or if it's a mist. And if it's chemical based and your lungs like hurt just a little bit, stay inside. Make sure all the windows are nice, tight, and locked. Cover up any doors or anything like that, because that's a chemical that's being sprayed. And why that is, I don't know. I just heard in some of the major cities and around the water areas is where the chemical mist was happening. So pay attention to your surroundings at the end of the day. That's why I want to make this video, to help you identify what the mist and fog is, which, like I said, is a change in your reality. When you see that fog and mist, a shift is happening. If you can't see past here, a major shift is happening in your surrounding living environment. And you want to set your will and intent out there. Try to not go outside because, like I said, it's where the veil between the spiritual and physical reality is thin, so you're going to see a lot of spirits and different things out there as it happens, which is just, oh man, it's so trippy. But you don't know until you start experimenting and exploring into it. And then, like I said, with the chemical mist, you can tell it's a spray particle. You can see all little particles. And you're going to feel it in your lungs if you're breathing in. Stay inside and do the best you can to clean your area once that chemical mist is gone as well. So yeah, so just pay attention to your surroundings. So I figured I'd share that because a lot of people really like to just jump on a trend but not do the research on it. And like I said, the real term is mist, not fog, which is really interesting if you do some root word research at the end of the day. So yeah, so hopefully that helps you, and it will help you shape your reality, right? Because the more you perceive, advance, or become more self-aware of things, you're going to see that mist happen when there's a major shift happening within your life and within the whole structure of the matrix, right? And that big shift is always in your town and city because that's where you are, right? There's a thing that I talked about, and I need to talk about it again, where when you leave your town or city, you're going through a different matrix. So literally, as soon as you go out of town, you shift. And then when you go into the new town, you shift into a different timeline. And again, it judges where you are, and you're basically a visitor in that town or city. So it really gets interesting, and it really opens your eyes to limitless possibilities, becoming more aware you live in a matrix structure, and what to do with that knowledge and awareness, which is really just, at the end of the day, just creating the best version of you, and helping the surroundings and the people within it as well. So yeah, so I could talk forever. So yeah, so love yourself, keep shining bright. I'll talk to y'all later.